Thank you for having me here this morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor for me to be here, really. I've been speaking all over the country and wherever anybody will listen to me on this Stroke Warrior Foundation. I'll talk about that. But the first thing I'd like to talk about is 5 years ago, in 2 months, I had some doctors tell me that, in their quote, they said, I shouldn't be there or be here. And they said, and with the other breath, they said, and there's nothing wrong with you. And yet, I was. Knowledge, this is going to make more sense as I go along. And as well, I had doctors telling me that I was a miracle. And then they asked me how I did it. That's where I was during this time. When something like this that happened to me happens, it rocks your world. It changes your whole world in a heartbeat. But I tell you what it did, it also taught me what the human spirit is capable of doing. I had 3 strokes in 3 weeks that paralyzed me. Now, when you consider the fact that I've been an athlete almost all my life. And then I've also been in the exercise business where I consult people and teach them how to attain great health and to get in the best shape ever. And this happens to me. Are you kidding me? That was unthinkable. And it was a game changer for me. It was a wake-up call. You know, I have to feel along the way like the rest of us do. When you go and get in life, things happen. But this one rocked me pretty good, you know. So I had to figure out. I was at a crossroads. Okay, if you can imagine being paralyzed like this, and I had no control over my body. I would say on one side mostly, any longer. So that was a big shock for me because as a bodybuilder, that's all we did. I controlled my body, and I controlled everything with training and nutrition. And now I had no control. So at that moment, at that crossroad, then I had to make a decision. I either had to let my circumstances destroy me or define me. I had to make that choice. I had to make that call. And this is when I went on a fact-finding mission. Okay, so this is my story of recovery. The good news is that because I was in the sport that I was in order to get the kind of condition that I got in, you have to do a lot of fact-finding to understand how to make your training the most efficient that you can. So I did that. I went fact-finding in this area. And what I found was pretty interesting and alarming, actually, because I found that, for example, that 40% of people who have these strokes actually appear to be healthy and in shape, and they exercise. Because when it happened to me, I was in denial almost. I couldn't believe that actually happened to me. But then the doctor said, no, 40% of the people that come in with this, they work out, they look like they're healthy. Well, that was interesting. And then I started digging even deeper, which is even more alarming to me at that time, was the recovery rate. Horrible. Only 10% of us that have these make an almost 100% recovery. I'm the lucky one. I made 100% recovery. I mean, it's taken 5 years, and I'm still recovering. Most people can't tell that. It's fine motor skills and some things like that. But 90% of the people live with a lifelong impairment. The rest of their life. Our country spends $34 billion a year to take care of stroke people. And the thing is, now at the time, I can tell you that it doesn't have to be that way. And there are some reasons that this is going on. I started bringing people into my personal training studio because I work mainly with people who are there for fitness. And I work with people who have been hurt and that kind of thing. But I started taking on stroke people because I saw what I could do with me. And when I go to a doctor, my doctor's my cardiologist, and he's asking me how I got myself back. That was a little bit of a red flag. I'm thinking, why is he asking me that? Especially after I told him how I did it. Because I did things that were non-traditional. Oxygen therapy, music therapy, These are all things that you can do. IV therapy with amino acids. When you have strokes like this, your body gets inflamed, totally inflamed. And the only way that you can recover, and I learned this from training, the only way that you can recover is if you can get yourself out of that inflammation. It's like overtraining to an extent. Well, everything that I was doing was pulling inflammation out of my body. That gave me the chance to recover. Otherwise, you're inflamed. And listen, inflammation, getting older causes inflammation. You can't get away from it. And then if your diet, there's some things that are factors, okay? So again, fact finding, and then I realized that, well, okay, so then what do I do about it now? So I go out here and the main thing that you can do in order to help prevent this is to address risk factors. And there are several. Being obese is one of them. High blood pressure is the number one reason. The number one reason. If you can keep yourself with your blood pressure, and it's going to be chronic. Listen, your blood pressure goes up and down, with the stress and all that kind of stuff. That's normal. Your body can handle that. It's when it's chronic is when you start having a problem with that. So blood pressure is the number one reason. Obesity, smoking, okay, so these are some of the risk factors. So if you start controlling or minimizing the risk factor, then you improve your chances. And that's exactly what I did. I just started going in that direction. As an athlete and as a bodybuilder, and it's not the only sport, I got into cycling. These are some things that the things I got into were very extreme. Bodybuilding was a very extreme sport because of you taking your body to that level. You have to do a lot of crazy training, dieting. So, what I had to start doing was, heard something today, moderation. Moderation really is the key to all this. So I did the things that I could control. I lost weight. I was usually weighed when I was bodybuilding about 250 to 280 pounds when I was training. I took that away. I've been at this body weight now for 5 years and 2 months, basically. And I control, so you control that weight. So I started controlling the risk factors, and to this day, knock on wood, it has not happened yet to me. In fact, the doctors are pretty amazed because I went in, so funny, all these years I trained, I never got a hernia. But I got a hernia from rehabbing my paralyzed body. Go figure that one. So before I went and actually had the hernia repaired, the doctor said, you have to do like this cardiac clearance testing, because they said when you go under anesthesia, it can be dangerous when you come back out. You can have another stroke. So I just thought, that was a good time in my life to go ahead and see where I really was. And so when I did that, again, that was about 3-4 years ago. I've done this back to back now. Oh, yeah. 4 years ago. So when I did this, the doctor told me, I did everything that you could possibly do. Nuclear, I did the angiogram. Because the thing is the doctor, before they did the angiogram, they said, well, you look, your heart's enlarged, so it's probably because you're an athlete, athlete's heart. Okay, but it also could be that you've got more arteries around your heart than you do, like your carotid arteries are your biggest ones. But you've got a lot more around your heart. They said it could be because that you have these little arteries that are having to pump really hard to get blood. If you want to know, without a doubt, that you're in really good health and what kind of health you're in, do the angiogram. So that's what I did. And I thought, I'm going to use that as a way of getting a brand new, sort of where I really health, a bill of health. So the results came back and the doctor said, no, you're not going to die from heart disease. Those are his words. You're not going to die from heart disease. But he said, you are 35% blocked overall. Now, I thought that was pretty bad. But the doctor said no. He said, oh, we don't start stenting or doing medication and all that kind of stuff till about 70% blocked, which I thought was astonishing. I didn't, I'm competitive. When he told me 35% blocked, that pissed me off. So when I did that next year, and just to show you, this is how powerful a diet can be. And I'm going to tell you, my training, I still train every day. I've been training for 35, 36 years, and I still, every day, I'm in the gym. the difference is I'm not bodybuilding, I'm training out for fitness. Okay, that's the moderation part of it. Okay, now the diet. So when he told me that I was 35% blocked, I thought I'm gonna see if I can reverse that without using medication. So what I did, the only thing that I did, was I changed my diet. And I'll tell you what I started eating, and I still do this. I started eating what's known as a paleo diet. Have you guys heard of that? It's a caveman diet. What does that mean? It's whatever you can pick, pull, or kill. Fruits, vegetables, okay, that kind of thing, right? Pick, pull, or kill. And I started doing that during the week, because on the weekends I like to eat too much. I still eat and go crazy on the weekend, but I do my main part of my being real strict during the week, and I do this paleo diet. So I did that for a year, and I went back for my yearly checkup again. The whole thing, and the doctor said, I said, well, how did it go this time? He said, amazingly, you have reversed your heart disease. This is how powerful diet can be. And again, I know it's usually the hardest part of what we're up against all the time, because all this food that's good that you want to eat. Okay, and I understand that. And that's the reason why I developed a diet around my lifestyle. I'm the type of guy that on the weekends, I don't want to count calories, or I don't want to be on any kind of a strict diet. I don't. Quite the opposite. And I do that. But I'll tell you what, it's proven that if you buckle down and just do something, you know, Monday through Friday, pretty strict, and have a strategy, it can be very healthy for you. In fact, reverse your heart disease, because that's what it is. It's the only thing I did. So that's how powerful diet is. So again, I just, you know, the reason, and then I started finding out that, again, then I started wondering, okay, so why aren't other people recovering like I am? Karen and I did, and she's taping me today because we go on the road now. And I started talking to stroke support groups all across the country. I'll talk to anybody about this. And I started finding out. And again, I was curious, why is it that they're not recovering? So I started going, and we started talking to stroke support groups, and it was scary. Really scary. It was sad. You know, I started really realizing how lucky I was. There's people that got way worse than I did. You know? But we also found out what part of the problem was. Am I going too low?
No,
oh,
you're great.
Okay. We started finding out what part of the problem was. Okay, and it mirrored what was going on in the weight training industry 35 years ago when I started then. Is that the information that's out there is very fractured. So when people have these strokes, they don't really know what to do when it first happens. And time is critical, man. You know? I mean, you got to get to the hospital within 4 hours to be able to be eligible for a treatment called TPA. It's a long word for a clot-busting injection that they give you. And I was able to do, I had 3 of them. I had 2 back-to-back. Fortunately, because of my wife dragging me over there, because I was like, no, we'll get over this. I got there in time, and I took that. And the doctor said, if it works, 2.5 days you'll walk out of here like nothing happened to you. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. 2.5 days, I walked out of the hospital. That was the good and bad news, because the doctor told me, I don't want you going back to the gym, and I don't want you going, you know, bodybuilding. So I said, okay. Then I thought to myself, he can't be talking to me. I'm not average. And so a week later, just to cut things short, I went back to the gym. Listen, I didn't do any bodybuilding. I cut it way, way back. I mean, it was child's play compared to what I was doing before. And things seemed to be going okay. I was working about 3 hours a day in the gym. And 3 weeks to the day, I had my 3rd one. Now I knew what was going on, because my first 2, I had no clue. I didn't think I could have them in me, but now I knew. And that's when it really got my attention, you know. So, but people don't know what to do when this happens. So you have to know what to do, A. But then here's the other thing that I found that was really interesting. Mainstream medicine, and we need them. There's no question about that. But they sometimes don't take into consideration how important non-traditional type therapy is, which is the stuff that I was doing. Eye light therapy with strobe lights. And this oxygen, all the stuff that I was doing. Sometimes they either discount it or they don't know about it, which bothers me on both of those examples. but that's what's going on. So you have people that are at these stroke groups, and they're saying, well, my doctor told me that after about 8 months, that's about as good as it's going to get. That's another myth. I'm 5 years, and I can tell you guys right now, because of the fact that I started rehabbing myself right away, it opens up the window for recovery. Your body keeps recovering. It's fantastic that way. But if you wait too long, because your body is built on, it adapts to whatever environment that it's in. It's part of the coping mechanism. When you go to work, being under stress at work, your body's always adapting to its environment. If you teach it not to do anything, guess what? It's going to adapt to that environment. When you do that with stroke people, well, the results just shut down. So the doctors were half right. They said after about 6 or 8 months, it's as good as it gets. No, it's not. Okay? Until 1960, we didn't realize that the brain is very pliable. I stroked out here on my left side. Now, and there's some discussion going on now, but generally, that's dead. Your brain has a lot of capacity. So what your body can do now, which they didn't know until 1960, is it can adapt. Okay, so that part of your body is gone, but it starts building new pathways. Okay? And this is what my body started doing, building pathways. And then through repetition, teaching my body what to do, because I was dead. Linking the mind to the muscle. We did all that when we were training. That actually happens. Just by watching it and by doing it, all of a sudden my body started kicking in again. So think of that, and when you're building a pathway, at first it's kind of like when you're digging a ditch by hand. It's a small pathway. But through repetition, you keep widening that pathway, and all of a sudden you got a freeway in it. So your body has built new freeways. That's how fantastic it is, if you'll teach it. Well, these are some of the things that the people that I talked to that they didn't know about. And then you combine that with the doctors in some cases. I'm not blaming the doctor. The information they were getting was not completely accurate. Okay, there's a reason why these people are not getting better. And, unfortunately, we heard this a lot too, with the way that our insurance companies work, we have what's called a standard level of care. And in a nutshell, people are getting kicked out of their insurance too soon. To begin with, it's usually about a 6-week program, and they get kicked out of the program. And then what the person is asked to do is say, go to your doctor, have them write you a script, and then you go get yourself better. How the hell is that going to happen? Unless you know what you're doing. They're not going to go. They're going to sit at home, get pressed, and it's over. Lights out. Okay? And then the standard level of care, if you fall within that, in other words, you're good enough, they say, well, you fall into the standard level of care, good enough. Insurance is gone. So they're getting insurance cut out too soon. They're not getting all the information that's out there. There's reasons for that. So that's the problem. And the other part of the problem is this. Here's some other statistic. Strokes are actually declining in my age group. I'm 62 here in a month. But in the age groups of 25 to 44, they're going up. Especially for women, because they're more they're in that environment now, there's more stress. So 25 to 44 going up, and it's not going to get better. I'll tell you what. If you take a look at our children, 40% of our children are obese. 80% of those 40% become obese adults. Well, obesity is one of the risk factors. Obesity leads into high blood pressure. See where we're going with this? It doesn't get better. In fact, it might just get worse. One of the ways that we're addressing that is I have what's called cradle to grave, basically. You know, I'm going to address this by creating a foundation for stroke survivors. Okay? And these are for the whole point of Stroke Warrior is to raise money for these people that are getting kicked out too soon. We're going to run it as a scholarship type program, so you'll apply for it, because I want people and their caregivers to be accountable to some degree, because that's how this will work. You have to want to do this too. You have to be proactive to some degree, whether it's you or your caregiver. It'll be on a scholarship program. I'm going to know exactly where the money goes to make sure that they're getting the proper training so they can get better. Okay, that's the whole point of that foundation, is to raise money for them. Okay, and then, so that's the foundation. And we're doing a big fundraiser at the Amber Center May 20th. We're doing a big deal out there. Hopefully it turns out really, that's our first one, so I'm learning a hell of a lot right now about this. But I hope it turns out well. We've got 350 people planning to come in. We're doing food tasting, wine tasting, auctions, and that kind of thing. It's going to be
Where is it?
Agri-Center, where the farm show is. And so we're going to have live and silent auctions. The theme of it is the golden era of Hollywood. So we're going to have, it's going to be kind of run like the Oscars, if you will. But we're going to have a really good time for that. So that's what I'm trying to do. Kara, she's really heading up that foundation. What we're trying to do for that side of it. But in addition to that, what I'm putting together right now is that I'm actually starting an after-school program for the kids, so they can come to my gym. And because you can train kids at a really young age. I learned this years and years ago when I was in Eastern Europe. You can train kids when they're 10 years old if you know how to do it. It actually really improves their situation. It improves not only strengthens ligaments and tendons, that kind of thing, but it improves their confidence, their self-esteem even more, right? And then, so I'm going to bring them in as a way of just developing a certain discipline. That's not going to be any kind of hardcore training. It doesn't have to be. Develop a discipline so they get used to doing this kind of stuff on a regular basis. And what we've done, the biggest obstacle there was getting kids there. I have a buddy of mine who owns a transportation company out of San Francisco. He's kicking in and he said, you tell me what you need and we'll get those kids back and forth. So we're doing that now and starting that up to address that, to see if we can. That's how it's going to reverse what's going on. Okay? So that's basically our program. And I mean, I've got nothing really else to say right now. I can keep going on, but I'm going to open up some questions.
Just a comment and then maybe a couple of questions. One, my son has started several CrossFit gyms and he is totally into paleo and he has kept me brainwashed in a good way, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's really a pretty amazing diet.
It is.
I compliment you on that.
Thank you.
The question I have is, first of all, the foundation on your board, have you found any physicians who would say, I want to serve with you, who would be amenable to that? Or have you
Not
found
yet.
outside your board? I was going to say, that,
Not yet.
Is that the big challenge you have?
Well, yeah, it's kind of interesting because when this happened, I was reaching out to everybody. I reached out to the AMA because they have conferences all over the country. And I told them, I said, I will go anywhere in the country to speak at your conferences for free. No one wants me there. What's going on? That's what I started. And listen, I'm skeptical, but I don't want to be that way because I don't want to think that is, they don't want me there, but it sure feels that way. Yeah, I'm thinking, okay, maybe I'm part of the solution, and then maybe, again, I don't want to think that way, but I don't know what else to think. Why would they want me?
Maybe another comment. My uncle was graduated top of his class from Harvard Medical School. This has been a few years back. And they had one course in nutrition back in that day.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything on it, and he had to kind of relearn everything to come back all the way around because he was dealing with hearts and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he said, they're slow to learn.
Oh,
Brutal to learn, right?
yeah, even, I've read
Because they think they know it all.
Yeah.
Exactly, with odds.
And the thing about this is, when it goes to diet, there's some misconceptions. For example, eating fat is bad for you. It's not. No, eating dietary fat is actually good for you. It stabilizes your core temperature. There's a lot of good things that it does for you. You have to understand it. What's really hurting us is, for inflammation, is actually the carbohydrate. Refined sugar, wheat, those kinds of things are really what's causing the issue. And your body stores that as a triglyceride, and that's another story. Yes, ma'am?
I just wanted to share too that I had brain surgery 5 years ago, and I went back to Colorado, and the first thing Dr. Oler said is you have to be on a paleo diet. In fact, that was a prerequisite to even be able to be eligible in his program to have it. And part of the brain surgery was a hernia, so they had to cauterize my brain.
Yeah.
And it is amazing.
Yeah.
And it was just that even the fact that to be able to have a brain surgery, I had to tell him that I would be on paleo
Yeah,
diet.
that's it. That's good. That's good information.
Yeah.
The thing that's kind of funny about that is if you want to lower your cholesterol, eat fat. That's going to drop your cholesterol, not the opposite. Anyway, any more questions for you guys? I can answer for you.
Leo?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, you're welcome.
All great things start small. So,
I'm small now.
we are glad you're here and best of luck with your
Thank you.
foundation. The fundraiser, May 20th. $50 tickets. Tables start at $1,000 per table, I believe. And they have in the Oscar theme, they have a connection with the Hollywood scene, and that's where this is all coming from. So it's going to be done very, very well. Some live music.
Yeah, it's coming together. I mean, you know, it really is starting to come together. We're excited about it. And now we're going to put the finishing touch on it. Got to finish strong.
Leo promised he will not twerk during the evening, so
Well, it depends on how much